Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? My name is Craig Otto. I'm a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt, and today we're going to start part one of a series I'm going to call White Belt Training. My intentions are to provide basic insights and understanding of operational excellence for those just starting out on their journey. So let's begin with a thought. Every organization strives for meeting customer needs with excellence. We call this value. While there are fundamental tools like Lean Six Sigma to achieve value, achieving operational excellence is far beyond the tools. It is a journey that will transform you and your organization individually and culturally to be the best. All journeys begin with the first step, which for operational excellence are guiding principles. You're going to find that I'm quite unique with my white belt training. Most introductory training would jump into like waist training or to tools like 5S or 6S. While these tools are important, and we will get to them, they only tell us the know-how, right? How to do things. I'm looking to train you with a deeper understanding first. I'm starting with the know-why. The why will provide us an understanding of people and how they think. And it will teach us how to respect individuals, create integrity and trust. And as I said in the quote, this is a transformational journey. So if you're going to be transformed, you must know why behind it. So let's dig deep into the why behind all of this by starting with the Otto model. I call it the Otto model because I want to take the blame for it if it's wrong. This model is something that I've changed a bajillion times over the years, but those changes have perfected it and made it mature. And as I said in my quote earlier, the journey starts with guiding principles, which you can see denoted on the bottom. Above that, you can see a gray bar there. That represents a stone, like a rock. It's kind of like the foundational piece to all this. And you can see in that rock we have natural laws. Those are things like gravity, laws of thermodynamics, laws of excellence like one-piece flow. And then across from that on the other side, you can see moral laws. Those are things like telling the truth, respecting others, having humility, and being selfless. So above, we go and we see the bar that has the sky in it. The sky represents a wide range of needs and wants from our customers, from our employees, and ourselves. And true north represents the perfect situation where our needs are met with excellence. And now we have this diamond in the middle here that is tied into the rock, right? It's seated into the rock there, and then it's up above in the sky as well. And that represents your business or your operation that you're performing in. And ideally, your foundation is anchored deep into the guiding principles. That's why I have it shown there being anchored into that rock. That means something. That's a metaphor for making sure you're anchored to the guiding principles. All right, and the reason that we anchor to those guiding principles is because that is truth, right? It's logic, it's transparency, it's trust. All of those laws anchor the organization in truth. And when you operate with absolute truths, it creates a culture that has a constant purpose in all that they do. And in addition, because the culture adheres to the moral laws, right, down there it's anchored to the moral laws, there are common values throughout the organization where everyone feels included in the team. And not just included, but a key contributor, right? They're important to the organizational success. With the organization anchored to guiding principles and then operating with a direction towards true north and having purpose and values, we can see that the operation achieving the highest value for the customer is possible because that's your true north. And we call this operational excellence. And the other great thing is when a storm comes, which represents a downturn in customer demand, possibly layoffs, the operation may teeter, but because it's anchored to principles, it will remain successful. Now we're going to consider what happens when you don't anchor your operation to guiding principles. One of the first things that happens negatively in a culture is when people begin focusing on selfish needs. When I say selfish needs, I'm talking about genuine indifference for caring about others. We all go to work to put a roof over our heads and to put food on the table, right? I don't call that a selfish need. That's a need to live. What I'm referring to is not caring about the success or workmanship of your own work, not caring about fellow employees, not caring about your boss, not caring about the company if they make money or not, not caring if someone else gets laid off because of you're not working hard, those types of things. So let's talk a few examples. Let's say I'm an engineering specialist, okay? And I'm out developing a project, maybe in the weld fabrication area. Now, I'm not the normal engineer in that area that supports it, but I'm an engineer, right? And this operator comes up to me and requests me to get a tool for them, right? They need help. Now, if I'm in a selfish environment, this is extremely below me. How could this operator ask someone like me to do such an inconvenient task? Okay, I'm busy here. Does he know who I am? I don't get paid enough the way it is. And this operator has the nerve to ask me to do something like this when the actual engineer should be doing it. Okay, so that is an example. Obviously, it's an example of an engineer being selfish and only considering their personal needs and their own pride, right? We call these selfish needs. So let's give another example. Let's say I'm an operator on the assembly line, and our department just learned that layoffs are coming because of future customer orders reducing. I see an operator next to me, and they're really working hard and being efficient and productive. And I pull them aside and I say, listen, you need to slow down. We need to drag this work out. You need to work slower so that we can prevent these layoffs from coming. Now, that's an example, again, of selfish needs. I, as the operator, am only thinking short term, right? I'm looking at myself and my employee and trying to drag this out and not considering the businesses. When people slow down on purpose and reduce productivity, that only makes the future business opportunities worse. And the best way to grow a business is to perform your existing work with excellence. So if you intentionally slow down, that'll make your products more expensive, forcing the customer to consider reducing existing business even further. So anytime you put yourself first and others take the back seat, it's disrespectful. It goes against moral laws. And that's not good, right? That burns those up. And once the needs turn selfish, natural laws begin to get ignored as well. For example, one-piece flow. It's a natural law, typically providing the next department with parts as close to one time allows that department to stay productive, right? And let's say I'm a supervisor of a supplier department and my customer has an assembly line where they're out of parts. And even one part would help that assembly line to keep moving. And so, but for me, it's inefficient, right? For my department, it's best if I do a batch of 20 and it keeps my productivity high. So if I only consider myself and my department and I don't care about my customer, they'll get my 20 parts in the batch order, a week later. But if I would have done one-piece flow, then the customer could have had a part within 4 hours, right? So this is an example of selfish needs creating operational inefficiency. Even though it was best for me, it wasn't best for the business. And those natural laws are being ignored. So in reality, we no longer have a stone of guiding principles anchoring our operation. We have a business foundation built on sand. And that sand is then consumed with employee indulgence and people only caring about themselves and caring less about other employees or the health of the business altogether. And without these laws, we're left with no absolute truths. And so a pseudoscience permeates throughout the business operations as the employees try to justify their selfish needs. And because the employees are indulgent and worried about their individual needs only, the operation no longer has common values. And the employees struggle to find common ground to work together, so there's no common values. Now, in addition to common values and lawlessness, the constant purpose becomes degraded and misunderstood. So the organization loses transparency and trust, and that forces the entire operation to struggle with execution. So you have degraded purpose over time. Now, this process usually doesn't happen quickly. Rather, it happens over time, and most times people don't realize it until it's too late. So usually operations find out when the storm rolls in, and perhaps it's with a big business challenge, a major quality issue being found by the customer, a mass reduction in work, or even a mass increase in work. So when the storm rolls in, the operation will be pulled in many different directions, and there will be a lack of follow-up and no integrity or concern for performance. There'll be a desire to hide and just drift under the radar and get through the day, and that's because the operation's not anchored to these guiding principles, right? They're in this sand, and we see operational chaos all around. And while an assumption might be that the people would want to get out of this chaos, typically it becomes addictive for the culture. People thrive on how bad things are and use it as an opportunity to further criticize, complain, contend over management and leadership. And it becomes a major challenge for the operation to pull out of such a situation. And it requires extremely strong and influential leadership that holds the knowledge and experience to do what's necessary to overcome this. And so, though it's difficult to get out of the chaos, it is absolutely possible. But it has to start, again, with the guiding principles. Now, let's dig in a little deeper into the operational part of all this. I usually break the operation within four main components: choice, individual behavior, operational behavior, and results. All excellence starts with choices, and every employee from the operator to the CEO makes choices that impact the operation every day. Those choices need to be anchored into the guiding principles, and learning these principles happens as each individual undergoes a personal transformation in their choices being made, which leads to changes in their individual behavior. And as a person is transformed, the operation then begins to be transformed as well. And you may have heard of things like lean events, rapid improvement events, Kaizens. These events are not just about implementing continuous improvement. They are, in fact, primarily a training tool. They're used to train the employees about the principles, the behaviors, and the systems, and the tools to achieve operational excellence, which creates the results, as you can see at the top of the diamond, and the value for the employees and the customer. So here's an in-depth look at the model. Lucky for you, it's not necessary for a white belt to understand, but if you'd like to view into the model a little deeper, you'll have to get my book. It's called True North: The Journey Towards Operational Excellence. Hopefully I'll have it out by 2023 at some point. I'll paste a link to it below once it's published. So, I'm sure by now, if you have any Lean Six Sigma experience or background, my introduction to all this was a little unconventional. But as I said before I started the training, knowing why is more important than knowing how when you're starting out. Hopefully this model resonates with your situation. The first step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one. And I think many businesses are stuck in chaos and they don't even realize it. And the good news is operational excellence is a proven solution. So operational excellence is a choice, and it is a cultural change. It's easy to think operational excellence is just executing tools like Lean Six Sigma. It's definitely way beyond tools, though. It's about the people. It is a personal transformation, and it's important to change yourself before you change others. For my personal transformation, it's changed my life in remarkable ways, and my hope is that you come to understand operational excellence in an intimate, meaningful way, so that you may have spread excellence throughout your life and to others. Culture, we talk a lot about culture, but culture is the sum of individual behaviors, which is why operational excellence is a journey of transforming the organization, one individual at a time. And so for homework, what I like to do is I want you to start observing your culture. Spend a week at your business just observing, really look at the behaviors of the employees from the bottom of the organization all the way to the top. Look for excellence. Look for how do people treat others with respect, with humility? Is there continuous learning? Are there a lot of collaborative efforts? And then also look for culture cancer, things like criticizing, comparing, competing. And when I say competing, it's competing for self-worth, right? Trying to compete at the expense of others. Complaining, contending. Those are all cancerous behaviors within the culture. So that will conclude the white belt training, the first session anyways. If you've enjoyed this presentation, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. I expect to have white belt training part 2 out very soon, so turn on your notifications so you don't forget. And then feel free to leave comments, questions, or suggestions. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. God bless you.